Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, your store for rock salt, pelleto, sand, mag, ice pellets and flakes, spreaders, snow blowers, whatever you need to get you through this winter season for cleanup. They service the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area, and they have the lowest prices anywhere and plenty in stock in case you're looking. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. They're located at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in western Suffolk County on Long Island, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Just want to mention a couple of things off the top. First of all, download my free, and it's free, the Meteorologist Joe Cioffi Weather app on Google Play or on the App Store. And not only can you stay on top of the local weather, but you get my latest updates. And most importantly, they have every snow forecast map from the Weather Service from Maine all the way down to Georgia. And those maps update usually twice a day when the Weather Service updates them, sometimes a bit more if there's a storm going on. But it's all there in one place, and it's free. So go to Google Play or go to the App Store and download the Meteorologist Joe Cioffi Weather app. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, of course, the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which will be on tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. And I have a feeling we're going to be on all week and going into the weekend with what we're looking at. So in the meantime, let's get the short range out of the way. We had some snow showers last night as a weak cold front passed. Now we've got a warm front that's approaching. Now, warm fronts are a little trickier because sometimes they can suddenly get a little bit of energy and you could get a surprise. The thing is, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll have to keep an eye on the radar here. And right now, we're seeing actually snow on the radar covering Ohio, back over through Indiana and Illinois, and down and through Michigan, or up and through Michigan, and in and around the lakes, moving into western Pennsylvania. I think this time around, we'll probably see tonight that the snow area, the southern edge, might do something like this, where it passes and makes a little bit of a turn further to the north. Can't guarantee that, though, so I think the best approach, again, is to cover for the possibility that some folks might see a coating, maybe a little bit more than that. You go up into upstate New York and points further north, certainly could wind up with an inch or two out of this as it moves along. And then we've got a cold front that's going to come through late tomorrow, and there won't be much with it. This is what it looks like on the surface. Should have the, yes, we do. We have the map plot from 10 a.m. Cold high pressure is overhead. This was a quick shot of cold air that came back in during overnight and this morning. It's not going to keep temperatures down too far, though. We should be back up into the 30s for highs. And here's your warm front with a low up in northwestern Illinois. And that warm front's going to go by sometime early tomorrow morning. And then, of course, right behind that is going to be a trailing cold front for late tomorrow. And here comes the next big high and the next shot of cold air. You're seeing double-digit minus 20 and minus 30 readings this morning up in western Canada. So we know that this is going to be another one of those cold air masses. So that's really the only thing that's going to happen this week from now into Friday. After that front goes by tomorrow evening, and that front probably goes by with very little with it. We will be dry and cold for Wednesday and Thursday, and that'll lead us into Friday and the weekend. And by the way, the cold this morning extended pretty far south down into Florida, but temperatures now starting to rebound. They had all sorts of frost advisories up and even some freeze warnings up during the overnight period. But that has, come and gone now, and temperatures are at least trying to bounce up a little higher because I know a lot of folks have connections down in Florida. So let's look at WPC's probability for snow. This is for at least 2 inches for the next 72 hours. Western PA, upstate New York, mainly say north of Binghamton on up towards Syracuse. You see high probabilities in and around the lakes, and also up into parts of northern New England. Not indicating anything to the south, so clearly what happens tonight is a light event. But they did update their long range, and this I think is something we need to look at. So the long range now is showing a 30 to 50% chance of at least 2.5 inches of equivalent snow and sleet. So basically, if it's an all snow event, we're talking let's say 3 inches of accumulation, the probability of, and they've now increased that probability. This is for Friday into Saturday, and if this storm materializes as advertised, it'll be probably Friday night, sometime later Friday night for a start. You're going to see a 30 to 50% chance of at least 3 from that little finger that points down to Delaware, then almost all of New Jersey except the south coast, and then over to Long Island, southern and central New England, the Hudson Valley, right up to the Pennsylvania and west to the Pennsylvania-New York state line, with a 10 to 30% chance in the lighter green. And this is an increase in the numbers and also an increase in the area further west. They push the 10 to 30% area further west. So let me just show you really quickly what's going on here as we move on through. And of course, we keep getting these cold air masses after cold air masses. And here's another trough that's going to come through during the day on Wednesday that brings in that next particular cold shot. And the cold air settles in here into Friday. Then we start to look for that energy. We've been talking about energy coming down from the northern plains, and you see it here. This is an upper air trough when we're looking at the 18,000 foot level. But the thing that's important is, if you have been following this over the last few days, we've been talking about the fact that the trough axis has been mostly positive. In other words, it runs northeast, southwest. So when you have a trough that looks like this, it's what we call progressive. It just moves along. It doesn't really do very much. It just kind of slides eastward. So you get a low to form somewhere on the east side of that trough, and it just kind of rides the flow. Maybe it intensifies a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. I did an analogy yesterday about it's how like you're just kind of sweeping a broom from from left to right, and not really changing the broom's position. You're just pushing everything along. Well, the models, all of them, have now gone to the solution where we're going to have not only a much sharper trough, but that trough winds up being north-south. And you see it here. This is Saturday morning, taking that very sharp V shape. And anytime you see on the upper air maps or on a surface map, when you've got the isobars, for example, when there's a sharp V, that usually is telling you that this is a bit of a powerhouse situation, either if it were a cold front or in this case we're looking at the upper atmosphere. That trough is going to lift up and go negative. In other words, negatively tilted northwest to southeast. And think about that broom again. You're going to sweep it up this way, and then that winds up whatever you're sweeping, you're spraying it all over the place, and you're expending all this energy. Well, the atmosphere is doing the same thing. So what we're going to be doing now going forward with all of this, because we're still about 4 days away from any kind of start time, that we're just going to continue to watch to see, how models tighten up. And that's the one thing I did notice today with this particular storm. This is the new GFS. The low is from last night when it showed a low, passing just to our east and south. It's still doing it. It might be a shade further to the east, and which makes for a colder solution. But just the fact that the models you're not seeing these lows now jumping 200 or 300 miles. They seem to be tightening up. They seem to be zeroing in on the possibility that there could be a rather important storm developing for Friday night and Saturday along the East Coast. I think that's sort of the takeaway here. As far as any kind of specifics, you really can't get into it at this point because there are so many variables with a situation like this that you're really not going to know the fine-tuned details until we get to Thursday or Friday at the earliest. So just know, I think the bottom line is just know that the risk for a storm system impacting the East Coast, and actually up and down the East Coast, this is looks like it might be a very large storm in terms of its circulation and its impact, that the risk is rising. And we have still 4 days before it all gets underway again. This would be snow coming in during Friday night, probably lasting through much of the day on Saturday, and then improving weather conditions, windy and colder on Sunday. And by the way, in terms of the long range, the storm system actually is very important because we were looking at the probability, or at least the strong possibility, that after we get into the month of February, the beginning of February, that the pattern was going to change and we were going to go into a warmer pattern in the east and a colder pattern in the west. If this storm materializes, it looks like it may alter that pattern change. So I think that's something to bear in mind when it comes to the longer term. The Joe and Joe Weather Show again tonight at 7:30. Weather in 5 and the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. For anything you need to get through the winter storms, to get your house or your business cleaned up, 631-756-1125. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, serving the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area with everything you need at the best prices around, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So download the free meteorologist Joe Cioffi weather app on Google Play or on the App Store so you can stay on top of this. Here's the latest radar with the snow that is moving into western Pennsylvania for tonight. And again, this is very minor, another coating to an inch. And be sure to tune in tonight on Joe and Joe because I'm sure we're going to be talking about this weekend weather system. Have a great day, and hopefully we will see you later. That's my Christmas tree, by the way, still up in the background.